Hey, Allison Verhalen here, and today I want to talk to you specifically about the emotions you are using or should be using in your marketing content. This is something we talk about all the time in marketing. It needs to be emotional. It needs to resonate on an emotional level. People buy on emotions, right? But that's all pretty vague, isn't it? Because as humans, we have lots of emotions. So which emotions specifically should we be targeting and when? And then once we do know all that, how are we going to get people, how are we going to tap into those emotions to motivate people to take the next step in the buyer journey? So that is what I am here to talk to you about today. So first and foremost is fear. I say first and foremost because I think it's the easiest emotion to tap into and the easiest emotion to use to motivate people to take that next step in the buyer journey. If you're right, if hopefully your audience is not the type to freeze, because there are the people, if you're not careful and you use fear, you can end up paralyzing your audience instead of motivating them to take that next step in the buyer journey. So use with caution, but it is really easy to say, hey, if your life is terrible, hopefully it's not terrible, but if it's not where they want it to be, maybe it could get worse if they don't take this next step and reach out to you to solve this problem, right? This is really easy for B2B people, right? Because there are so many things that can go wrong as a business owner. Obviously, all of us are constantly afraid that clients will dry up, no one will hire us anymore, we'll go out of business, we'll end up living in a van down by the river, right? That's everyone's worst nightmare. So super easy to tap into that, hey, your business needs this. And when it's not a fear of that, it's a fear of getting sued or something else, or a ton of bad reviews on Amazon or Google that end up tanking our business, right? These are the things that keep us up all night as business owners. So super easy to tap into those fears. Again, usually because they're already afraid of those things. So you can absolutely introduce a new concern that maybe they hadn't even thought to be afraid of. That works all the time. Absolutely do that. But you can also tap into those fears that they already have, and then you don't have to do as much work. You don't really have to paint a big picture for them of how scary this can be, because they're already imagining it. They all are already thinking about these things. Like I said, all night long, these wheels are turning in our head going, oh my God, what happens if this happens? Or if this doesn't happen, then what do I do? So fear, super easy to motivate people with fear. Sadness is next up, kind of related to fear. Little bit, you can tap into this. I would use it sparingly, because people, when they feel sad, tend to feel lethargic. They're not as likely, they're unmotivated, they're not as likely to do anything, right? When we're sad, we just want to sit on the couch, watch Netflix, eat a bunch of donuts, right? At least, or is that just me? I don't think that's just me. So the benefit to sadness is it allows you to create this emotional connection with your audience. It allows you to say, hey, I know that you're feeling this. I know this sucks. I'm with you, right? I totally get it. You don't have to say that you are also feeling that way. Hopefully you don't. But having that empathy for them, for this shitty situation that they are in or have been or could at some point be in, is a great way to build that bond with people, because now you're more trustworthy. So I would say you can use sadness early on and then switch to another emotion that's more motivating. But there is benefit to sadness. I don't want that to be to gloss over that. There is a way to use it, but use it carefully and use it sparingly. Next up, anger and disgust. Super motivational, right? When we're pissed about something, we are sometimes literally up in arms. There are some political candidates right now who are showing the power of anger and disgust, and how motivating that can be for some people. So yes, absolutely use it when it makes sense. But be careful, because that can backfire really quickly. You can suddenly become the target of anger and disgust. And if you, again, politically, if you want to be the target of anger and disgust for the other party, then fine, go for it. But also remember that your brand is aligned to all of this. So if you want your brand to be built around anger and disgust. Again, there are certain politicians who have built that brand. But that is their brand. Do you want that to be your brand? Totally up to you. And like I said, you can use it. It is very motivational, and it does get a whole lot of shares because especially on social media. The social media algorithm loves it. We love it as humans. We love getting riled up. So we are going to hit that share button and distribute that content everywhere. So again, there are benefits to using anger and disgust. I would say, again, use it sparingly and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but it should not be the only emotion that you are tapping into. On the other end of the spectrum, we have happiness and joy. The good thing is that those also tends to get a lot of engagement and shares. Think about all the people sending you puppy pictures or, cross-species animal friendships, cuddling pictures and videos that you are seeing in your feed because it makes us feel good and we want to share those things. So absolutely, happiness, joy, great content for sharing. But remember that people they can sometimes feel complacent when they're feeling happiness and joy. Things are going well. Awesome puppy picture. Great. I don't have to get back to work. I don't have to buy such and such. I don't have to do anything. Life is going well. So I tend to use happiness kind of somewhere in the middle of my story arc, right? I want to take them to Cinderella is the story that I constantly go to, right? She's at the palace in this beautiful ball gown, dancing with the prince. That is as good as life ever has been for her. And let's face it, probably as good as life ever will be for her. Super happy, right? Then you got to take her back to living with her evil stepmother and stepsisters, scrubbing floors before you can get the happy ending. So yes, absolutely tap into that happiness. Enjoy how awesome life can be when they work with you, when they get your products or services. Life is awesome. Dancing in the palace, gorgeous ball gown, somehow magically comfortable glass slippers, right? Dancing with the prince. Life is great. But then remind them that they are still in their reality of scrubbing floors for their evil stepmother and stepsisters until they take that step to buy from you. So that is an example. I said I was going to talk about this later, but it's so important that I couldn't put it off. So absolutely use different emotions throughout the content. Even one piece of content, even a social media post, you can use different pieces of content, tap into different emotions at different times. Next up, belonging and community. I think this is more of an overall brand thing. What are you doing to create community? What are you doing to identify yourself as a member of a certain tribe? And what is that tribe? And how are you going to identify other people who are members of that tribe? What does that look like? So absolutely tap into that. An example is that I have never been a big purse person, right? Never really cared about the super nice, expensive purses, but I have been networking lately with people who are making a fair amount of money and they all have those big, gorgeous leather purses. So I went out and bought one because if I'm going to be in the room with those people, I want to signal that I belong in that room. And I know the men don't care. They have no clue that I bought a new purse, but the women care. They are the ones complimenting my purse, and they are the ones seeing it going, okay, yes. Even if it's on a subconscious level, they see that as a sign that I belong in that room. So that's just one example. But there are different things you can do throughout consistently, right? It's not like I bring that purse once and done. This is now going to be a regular part of my wardrobe. So what is something that's going to be a regular part of your content, your images, your website, your social media, your videos, everything that communicates that you are part of this community? Some brands decide to build community as part of their brand. That is awesome and super powerful. Also super hard, especially if you're starting from square one. So like I said, there's awesome benefits in doing that, but just keep in mind that's a long game. You're not going to see results from that overnight. That's going to be a really long strategic plan that you have to follow for quite a while. So it's much easier to tap into an existing community and again, signal that you already belong to that community. Keep in mind, People tend to buy from people they know, like, and trust. If you signal that you are part of that community, that you're already part of their tribe, that is instant trust right there. If you're part of this tribe, then I trust you. I'm not going to worry. I am much more likely to buy from you just because of this. So keep that, again, that's the value of having that community. Instant gratification. We are, and this is hard for most of us, especially people like me who work in an industry where it takes a while. Anything that's like marketing or business development or weight loss, right? Those are all things that take a while to see results. And yet we want results overnight. So there is a reason that you see, you're going to see you're going to start seeing results in 2 weeks. You're going to start seeing results in 30 days. Keep in mind that what they're saying is you will see results. You're not going to get to the end goal at the end of 30 days. You will see results if you do everything they say you should do. That's something I struggle with in my marketing as well. And I don't make any promises time-wise in my marketing because I don't want to make a promise I can't keep, because that is a great way to piss people off and have a negative relationship with your customers, and nobody wants that. So I tend to stay away from that. But if it makes sense for you to say, yeah, we can get you ranking on the first page of Google or the first 10 results or whatever within a certain number of time, then absolutely make that if you can stick to it. In general, the rule is over promise and under deliver, right? Tell them it's going to take 4 weeks, even if it's only going to take 2. That way, if it takes 3 weeks, they're still pleasantly surprised because they were expecting it to take another week. Whereas if you promise 2 weeks and it takes 3 weeks, now they're pissed because you said 2 weeks and they had to wait 50% longer. So it's all about perspective, right? Set the expectation. And then if you can do better than that expectation, it's a super easy way to set yourself up for success. So if you're in an industry that is great with instant gratification, again, I think of food and beverages, instant gratification. Here you go. Anything that you can, any physical object, you can sell them right away. Yep, here you go. Awesome. Love that. ChatGPT, actually, I had not even thought of this until just now, but that is another one where we want a blog post, we want an email, we want a letter, we want something, and we want it right now. ChatGPT, give this to me right now. Guess what ChatGPT does? Guess why that has been so effective, especially if there's a free version. Now there's a paid version, but at first it was free and super fast. It was everything we wanted except good, unique content. But that's a story for another video. Inspiration. This is another one that is super motivational. It is the second most commonly used second most commonly used emotion in marketing. I always think of Nike, right? Just do it. All of those athletic brands that are convincing you to buy their leggings, their sweatshirts, their shoes, their whatever, right? It's so your Peloton has been great at this, right? Get up and get moving. Be this awesome, super fit person that you want to be. Super inspirational, awesome way to get people to click that buy button. Whether or not that inspiration lasts beyond the buy button is not really up to you, is it? I mean, there are ways that you can follow up with them and say, hey, are you actually using this? What can we do to make this easier for you? I no longer have a gym membership, but when I did, they would send me, I did go regularly. I went like every other day. And they would send me little emails like at the end of the week being like, you spent this much time in the gym. This is really awesome. Like, keep it up, keep it going, which now that I think about it, on the one hand, kind of creepy. They were tracking every time I was going into the gym because, of course, they were. I was scanning my little card or whatever. But it was really cool to get that little motivational, that validation at the end of every week of, hey, we see you doing this. This is awesome. Keep it up. That felt really good. And of course, I was going to keep doing that because they were cheering me on. So inspiration is one that is also super motivational, but it doesn't tend to last very long. So that's another one that I would tend to use like right before the buy button, right before that call to action. Inspire them with how awesome their life can be, with the kind of person they can be. And then, okay, here it is. Here's the buy button. Here's all you need to do to be that person, right? And then follow up. Make sure they are keeping up that inspiration. Finally, as I said, mix and match. You should never use just one emotion, certainly not throughout your content, but even in one piece of content, just using one emotion makes your content feel really one note, and it's kind of bland and boring. On the flip side, you don't want to take them on an emotional roller coaster, right? We don't want to get seasick because we're up and then down and then we're up and then we're doing loop-de-loops, right? No one wants that in their marketing content. But again, think of that Cinderella story where you start off one place and then you go down a little bit and then you shoot up and then you go back down and then you go up again. But you're not going to do that because you have to motivate them to take that call to action. So remind them that they're still in the reality of, like I said, scrubbing floors for their evil stepmother and stepsisters. So that is it. That is everything that I have for you. Certainly that's not all the emotions in the world, but those are some of the most commonly used emotions in marketing because they can be super motivational. So that is it. If you have any other questions, you can drop a comment here on YouTube. You can head over to my website, which is AV as in my initials, Allison Verhaelen. So that is avwritingservices.com. And you can always reach me directly by emailing me at info@avwritingservices.com. That's it. Have a great week and happy blogging, everyone.